Unfortunately, after Avengers Endgame, I feel like my love for superhero films have been slowly dying out with each movie that came out. I mean, it's not to say that there weren't any good movies that came out after. I still really love the Batman, but I was also very disappointed with projects like Spider-Man No Way Home. And it's weird for me to say that I preferred the Batman over Spider-Man No Way Home when Spider-Man is my favorite character of all time. And I think that has something to do with corporations nowadays trying to push for nostalgia and having box office hits and earning a lot of profit rather than creating something with heart and emotion. Listen guys, Spider-Man No Way Home also had heart, but you have to admit, a lot of the praise came simply from bringing back old beloved characters. And I know that Marvel's going to continue to create movies like this where they push for box office hits and try to profit as much as possible, bringing old characters that are really beloved to the screen so that more people can watch. And I kind of hate that. I remember when Deadpool and Wolverine first released and Ryan Reynolds told everyone that the movie was a good movie if you turned off your brain. And I kind of hate that we're at the point in cinema where you have to turn off your brain just to enjoy something like a popcorn film. And what's kind of funny is that I enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine because I did turn off my brain when watching that film. But the kids, man, the kids deserve movies where they can think about it, you know, something that they can come back to when they're older and say, dang, this movie wasn't just about superheroes, it was also about life. This was cinema. So that's kind of how I view superhero films nowadays. They just kind of lack a lot of heart. And I know a lot of people will say na, oh, maybe you just grew up and you're not the target audience anymore. But no, I mean, I still love the cartoons. Like, I still rewatch them. Like, I love the DCAU and I freaking love Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh my goodness. Because those cartoons still have heart. And a lot of people would be quick to disregard them because they're cartoons and live action is always better. But I feel like the cartoons and comics have always been doing a better job than what the new modern films are doing now. So when James Gunn announced that he's creating a Superman movie, I was a little excited but also scared because Superman is this sincere person. And how are you gonna create a movie about sincerity when a lot of Marvel movies and superhero movies nowadays are just not sincere in my opinion? But I kept following up on the news and updates and I was hearing a lot of good things, like James Gunn was planning to make this Superman very cartoonish, very comic book-like, and very heartfelt and hopeful. Man, when he mentioned that he wanted a hopeful Superman, I was like, okay, I'm so in, let's go. So after a year of waiting, I finally was able to watch Superman, and boy did I love it. It was so refreshing to be able to finally walk out of a cinema in a superhero film movie and say, oh my goodness, that was peak. I feel like even recency bias aside, I really love this film and I'm so excited for the DC universe to keep going. I'm so glad that I doubted James Gunn at first because it made it so much more worth it when he proved me wrong. This movie has a lot of heart. Just from the simple things with Superman having personal problems instead of his problems being, oh, how am I gonna save the universe from this giant apocalyptic thing, was so refreshing to see. Even if there was a giant apocalyptic thing that happened, at least there was human problems too. I love the role of Clark Kent's parents in this film. Oh my goodness. Yes, I love it when kid films have these good role models to teach the main characters something. Because even if the main character is Superman who can fly, shoot lasers out of his eyes, breathe ice breath, still has problems. And who does he go to? His parents. And it was so beautiful to see, even for a short amount of time. I just really appreciated it. There is just something so heartwarming about already being successful in life and being independent, but still choosing to go to your parents when you want to talk to them about how things went at work or if you have problems. It's something that's kind of being lost in the Western culture nowadays that I see, that they're really pushing for independency. But you know, life is short and I think it's important to share those memories and achievements with those that you love. And it doesn't even have to be a real family. This film also beautifully portrayed how family isn't just by blood. It's also by choice. You find family in those people that love you and love you for who you are. And this film just portrays kindness in such a beautiful way. Now, with that being said, there are some cons to this film. So I'm sorry, James Gunn, but you're not gonna get away with a perfect rated review. There is still some cons, and one of those cons is over-explaining things. This is a perfect example on why you should always focus on showing rather than telling. Not too many spoilers, but I just feel like a lot of times when they're trying to have a big character moment, we have the main characters trying to over-explain themselves. Like, for example, Lex Luthor kind of suffers a lot from this over-explaining, and we have scenes of him where he's just hating Superman. He's like, Superman, he's not a man, he's an it. He's a cyber... It's just a lot of over-explaining, and I get that this film isn't an origin story, so a lot of people are gonna wonder, why does Lex Luthor hate Superman? It's supposed to be obvious for comic book fans, but I guess this is James Gunn's way of getting the general audience to understand why Lex does this, but it just kind of sells the moment, doesn't feel as earned. At some points, I give it a pass and I can forgive it because this is a movie for kids as well, and some things that are obvious to us aren't so obvious to kids. However, there are just some scenes that are way too over-explanatory, like, no spoilers again, but there's a scene where Clark Kent is struggling and he's reaching out to Crypto. He's like, Crypto, I need your help because I'm not that strong yet because of what happened 10 seconds earlier, but now I need your help to grab me by the collar here because that's what's happening right now. That isn't exactly what he says, but at times it does feel like that. And also, how do I explain this? But sometimes I feel like James Gunn had a checklist on how to make a good Superman movie, and sometimes I feel like some scenes were just there to artificially cross it out. Like, oh, Superman needs an emotional moment with his dog. Oh, Superman needs an emotional moment with Lex Luthor where they're screaming at each other, so it's comic accurate, check. So some of it doesn't feel as organic as others, but it still works for me. Anyways, I really love the vibes of this new DC universe. Actually really worried that the new DC universe would just feel like the old one, and I don't know how different it's gonna be. But the thing I love about this DC universe is that it resembles Star Wars vibes more than MCU vibes, and that is a good sign. I wanted to save my favorite part of this film for last, but I really love the score so much. The soundtrack was amazing. I've been listening to it non-stop now. You guys should check it out. It gives off a lot of How to Train Your Dragon actually, and Star Wars combined, and of course the original Superman. And by the way, the CGI was actually pretty good. The trailers kind of showed the wonky shots, but I swear, don't believe those people online that say it sucked ass, because it really didn't. This film looks beautiful and very colorful. I wasn't a fan of how Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 looked. I wasn't a fan of how the Suicide Squad looked as well, but I was a really big fan of how Superman looked. Lastly, the reviews online on this are really gonna be mixed. That's always gonna be the case. And before I watched this film, I really didn't care for superhero films anymore. Once I see a bad review stating the same problem they had on the previous movie, I just kind of give up on it. But this movie, I believe this movie deserves a chance for you to watch. You all should definitely check it out and form your own opinion, and let's have a discussion. My personal bias rating of Superman is a 9 out of 10. Objectively, it would be more of an 8 out of 10. That's all.